Yaku, so what makes stock capital unique? I mean, you've mentioned getting involved in real estate. Any layman of guy can maybe buy a home out there and invest in real estate. But what makes your stock capital's unique offering model so lucrative for investors to have a look at?
At Stock Capital, we create an earlier entry point for investors to get into real estate. So we bring them earlier in the value creation chain, so to make sure that their returns improve dramatically.
Wow. Okay, so can we dive deeper into that earlier adoption or earlier value chain? What does that look like?
So the early entry point that I was talking about is it's where the typical investor would enter the property value life cycle. Now, the property value life cycle is where we take vacant land and we move it through the process by zoning the land, taking it to service land, and then top structure development, and the final exit to investors or end users. So that is both valid for commercial, residential, the whole property life cycle. In any type of property, it goes through that process at some time. So it is important for us to bring our investors not at the end of the life cycle where all the value's already been extracted, but bringing them forward in the value to be part of the value creation process.
Wow.
And so for and also boosting their returns.
Of course, So the average guy usually just buys after the development and everything has been done, he buys his house, sits on it for a couple of years and then flips it. But with if I understand correctly, with stock capital, you can literally come into the part of the development process as an investor. Do I understand that correctly? Is that
100% correct? So we bring you forward in the value chain, so that makes sure that you form part of the returns that is available in the value chain.
And are those returns way more exponential than the normal, getting a good deal on a property and selling it? Or
if you enter the value chain at the end user level, the top normal capital gains that you would normally look at is around 5%. But if you start earlier in the value chain, you can be part of the whole development process in a safe and secure manner, so that you don't take all of the risks as well, where you are guided by a team, that you're part of a team, being a co-investor into the value creation portion of that. So normally the returns would be boosted by in excess of 20 to 30%. Where you would only have the capital appreciation at the end, you can now have the appreciation during the value creation period, plus you can also exit with a unit at the end if you would choose to do that.
That's interesting. That's very cool.
On the private equity side, we've received a capital investment of over 380 million rand to this point. We've developed on the private equity portfolio, we've developed over 2,800 units.
Sure.
And we have been able to achieve a return of around 19% on average with all the developments that we've done on the private equity side already.
Oh.
So our track record speaks for itself, if that makes sense. So we have a very strong following on a high net worth investor market, but we are bringing it to the average guy, to the person that has 100,000 rand that wants to invest. They can be part of this return cycle earlier and make sure that they minimize the risk that they have. Typically, when you invest at the end of the process, you are limited by your capital gains, and you're limited by the income of that real estate and the tax benefits that you might benefit from in the later stages. But during this process, it's very important for us to make sure that you also take part in the value creation process earlier. So that enables you to sort of get the best of both worlds. So our track record speaks for itself. So we've got a longer than 20 year, as I've mentioned, a 20-year plus track record. We've got large industry experience, and that enables us to make good decisions on developments. So even though there's no guarantees in property investment, it's typically underpinned by real estate, and I mean, real estate you can't pick up and carry away.
Definitely.
So it's a bit more secure as long as you make the right decisions, surround yourself with the right team, and allow yourself to be guided by the process and the models that's being put in place.
And that's what, in essence, any investor is looking for, is that safety, just knowing that they're working with someone who's experienced in this field. In your case, you're industry experts regarding real estate development and all that entails that.